my overwhelming feeling about transgender young people is the awareness that half of them try and kill themselves before they're 18. So when I think about this debate, the thing that I'm concerned about is how many desperate, vulnerable young people there are who literally try to kill themselves, who feel completely unaccepted. So I'm someone who loves sports. I played 3 sports in high school. I played varsity sports through college. I love sports. But if you ask me what is more important, then, is it who gets to be on the team or who's accepted as a human being and doesn't try and kill themselves? My heart goes out to the vulnerable people who are trying to kill themselves. And to be clear, this is not some huge epidemic. This is a right-wing attempt to victimize and villainize already vulnerable and desperate people. And my heart completely goes out to the people who are so sad, feel so rejected, so unaccepted, that half of them would try and kill themselves. That's my overriding concern here. And I believe the law is right.
Governing bodies in those particular sports decide who plays in the sport. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that you are entitled to play a sport.
Well, there is in California. So
in the Constitution?
No, not in the Constitution, but there is a California law that says that it would be discrimination, that you cannot discriminate sex-segregated sports, bathrooms, or team activities. They legally are required to allow that student to play in whatever gender sport they want.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd have to look at the way you've read the law.
I actually have it. The bill would require, this is actually from the bill. The bill would require,
this is current law.
Current law. The bill would require that a pupil be permitted to participate in sex-segregated school programs and activities, including athletic teams and competitions, and use facilities consistent with his or her gender identity, irrespective to the gender listed on the pupil's records. Now, you are the former AG.
Yep.
As a former AG and potentially future governor, where do you stand on the debate to allow transgender students to keep this law intact as is and allow transgender students to play on whatever team they'd like?
The law rules. Those are the rules. If there's a law that says you cannot discriminate against someone because of who they are, then we must protect those individuals based on the law. But there is nothing that I'm aware that says that we must, because of the Constitution, allow someone to play in a particular sport. I was going to say to you before you mentioned the law that it's the governing body for that sport that will usually set the rules.
Well, so this is specific to team sports for schools, right? Okay. So you can't discriminate.
Right. And so, for example, club sport. If someone says, hey, I want to be able to play on that club sport. Well, what do the governing rules of that club sport say? That's what governs. So long as that club sports rules don't violate the Constitution in discriminating against somebody, and so long as we're not creating a hostile atmosphere, which is also against the law.
Well, and that I think is a concern here too, right? So this is specific to student sports. But if you take this out, then do you create a hostile environment, right? So, I mean, is it something that can be finessed or should be finessed?
Well, look, Julie, at the end of the day, it is great to be able to play sports, but you have to follow the rules of that sport. And so I think we should all agree that whatever the rules of the sport are, let you and I decide we're going to create a new sport, and we decide what the rules are going to be. Anyone who wants to play that sport in our league, they have to follow our rules. Now, if there's nothing in the Constitution that requires you and I to have to do something in particular, something special for any individual. But at the same time, I'm not interested as governor of having someone be bullied or someone discriminated because of who they are, simply for that reason. And if the rules allow an individual to play in that sport, those are the rules, and you should abide by them. If the rules don't let you play in that sport just because of who you are, then you don't get to play in that sport. And it should be that easy.